I adjusted my simple black dress Chanel, though they didn't know that, and balanced another tray of champagne flutes around me. My mother's annual charity gala swirled with designer gowns and expensive perfume. The same event where 1 year ago they'd announced my sister Victoria's promotion to senior VP at Goldman Sachs. Olivia, darling Mum's voice carried that particular tone of gentle disappointment she'd perfected over the years. The Ashworth's glasses are empty. Do you try to keep up? I bit back a response about how the Ashworth's investment portfolio was currently being managed by one of my subsidiary companies. Instead, I just nodded and moved through the crowd, with practiced grace still playing. Waitress Victoria appeared at my elbow, resplendent in a red designer gown. Though, I suppose it's fitting. Weren't you doing something similar in London, service industry or whatever, if by service industry she meant running Morgan International, one of Europe's most successful private equity firms? Then, yes, but they didn't know about that, just like they didn't know about the private jet waiting at the airport, or the fact that I own this entire building. Something like that, I murmured, moving past her with my tray. Oh, and Olivia Victoria called after me. When you're done with the drinks, Mother needs someone to help in the kitchen. The actual catering staff is too busy with the important work like preparing the food I was paying for through 3 different shell companies. This whole party, from the premium champagne to the crystal centerpieces, was funded by me. Though the checks came from anonymous donors to Mother's charity, Olivia Dad's voice boomed across the room. Stop doling and get more ice. The Hendersons need their drinks refreshed. The Hendersons, I suppressed a smile, remembering how just last week their family company had desperately pitched to my firm for emergency funding. They didn't know that the mysterious CEO who declined their proposal was currently fetching their ice. My phone buzzed quietly in my pocket. A message from Marcus Mayo Tokyo deal closed $50 million profit board. Wants to discuss expansion. I typed back quickly in meeting, we'll call later. Let them think I was in some boring business meeting, better than explaining that I was serving drinks at my mother's party, because they still saw me as their failed daughter who could possibly be texting you. Victoria appeared again. Champagne glass dangling from her manicured fingers. Your boss at that little import company, yes, the cover story, they all believed poor Olivia, working at some small trading firm, barely making ends meet. If they only knew that that little import company was just one tiny piece of my global financial empire. Just work, I said vaguely. Speaking of work, Mum joined us, her diamonds catching the light. Victoria just closed another major deal. 10 million in bonuses. This quarter alone, isn't that wonderful? I nodded politely, not mentioning that I'd made more than that before breakfast this morning. We're all so proud, Dad added, appearing with the Hendersons. Victoria's showing everyone what a Harrison can achieve when they apply themselves properly. The Hendersons nodded appreciatively, though I noticed Mr. Henderson's hand shake slightly as he reached for a fresh glass of champagne. He was probably still stressed about his company's rejected funding request. Unlike some people, Victoria said with a pointed look at my tray, who never quite figured out their potential. Mum sighed dramatically. We did try with Olivia, the best of schools, all the right connections, but she insisted on doing things her way. Remember when she turned down that junior analyst position I offered her at Goldman Victoria, laughed, said she wanted to explore other opportunities. Now look, serving drinks at parties, though. I suppose someone has to do it. I checked my phone again this time, seeing a message from my London office. Urgent royal family's private investment team requesting meeting tomorrow. Your jet is prepped and waiting. See, Mum gestured at my phone, always distracted. No wonder she can't hold down a proper job. Actually, I started, but Victoria cut me off. Oh, let her check her phone, Mother. Probably trying to pick up extra shift somewhere. We all know she needs the money. Dad shook his head sadly. At least help out properly tonight? Olivia, the kitchen staff needs assistance with the clean-up. I felt something snap inside me. 3 years I'd been playing this role, 3 years of hiding my success, of letting them believe I was struggling while secretly building one of the largest private investment firms in the world. I really should go, I said quietly. I have a meeting. Victoria laughed loudly, drawing attention from nearby guests, a meeting at this hour with whom? The night shift at some pub. Olivia Mum's voice turned sharp. You will stay and help clean up. It's the least you can do after we went to all this expense. All this expense, the expense that came directly from my accounts, filtered through enough shell. Companies to hide my involvement, the hired help doesn't leave until the work is done, Victoria announced to their appreciative audience. Isn't that right, sister dear? I looked around the room at all these people who thought they knew exactly who and what I was. The Hendersons desperately trying to save their failing company. The Ashworths, whose investment portfolio I controlled my sister, bragging about deals that wouldn't cover my daily operating costs. My phone buzzed again this time. It was James. My head of security car is waiting downstairs. Pilot reports. Weather perfect for London flight. I looked at the tray in my hands, then at my family's smug faces. Maybe it was time to show them exactly who had been serving their champagne all night. Actually, I said, setting down the tray, I do have a rather important meeting to get to. More important than your mother's charity gala? Dad's voice rose with anger. More important than helping your family? Victoria smirked. Let me guess, some late-night stock boy needs help counting inventory. I smoothed my dress and checked my watch. A Puck Philippe that cost more than Victoria's annual bonus. Something like that, absolutely not. Mom stepped forward, her voice hard. You will stay and help clean up, that's all you're good for. Anyway, the room had gone quiet. Guests watching the drama unfold with poorly concealed interest. Perfect. I smiled, reaching for my phone. Let me just make a quick call. The room fell silent as I dialed all eyes watching this latest act of defiance from the family disappointment. Victoria's smirk grew wider, probably anticipating another humiliation for her struggling sister James. I said clearly into the phone, please come up and bring the contracts for the Henderson merger with you. Mr. Henderson's champagne glass froze halfway to his lips. The what? Before anyone could react, the ballroom's double doors opened. James, my head of security, and right-hand man entered in a perfectly tailored suit. Behind him came my full executive team, all of whom had been waiting downstairs for this moment. Madam James bowed slightly. The private jet is fueled and ready. The royal family's investment team has moved tomorrow's meeting to breakfast at Buckingham Palace. They're quite eager to discuss the merger. You could have heard a pin drop in the ballroom. Victoria's smirk had vanished, replaced by confusion that rapidly turned to shock. Thank you. James, I turned to Mr. Henderson. I apologise for the deception, but I preferred to evaluate your company's potential myself before revealing my identity. Unfortunately, as CEO of Morgan International, I don't believe your current business model is sustainable. Morgan International, Mum whispered. But that's the largest private equity firm in Europe, I supplied. Yes, it is, though we're actually global. Now that little import company, you've been mocking just one of our many subsidiaries. Dad's face had gone pale. That's impossible. You couldn't. What I raised an eyebrow, couldn't build a multi-billion-dollar company. Couldn't become the youngest female CEO on the Financial Times 500. Or couldn't do it all while you thought I was serving drinks and counting inventory. Victoria stumbled slightly, grabbing a nearby chair for support. But I'm the successful one. I'm Senior VP at Goldman. Yes, about that. I nodded to another member of my team who stepped forward with a folder. Goldman's board approved our purchase of your division this morning. Effective next week, you'll be reporting to my Asia-Pacific director. Assuming we decide to keep you on the whispers, had started now rippling through the crowd of elite guests as they realised exactly who had been serving their champagne all evening. This charity gala, I gestured around the opulent ballroom, funded entirely by me through various shell companies. This building, I bought it last year. That champagne you've been drinking from my personal vineyard in France. Mum sank into a chair, her perfect composure cracking. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? I laughed softly. You couldn't even believe I was capable of handling a junior analyst position. So I decided to let you keep believing what you wanted. Right until you needed me. Needed, your dad's voice cracked. The Henderson merger is just the beginning. Did you really think your company's sudden turnaround last year was due to good luck? Those mysterious investors who saved you from bankruptcy, Almi Victoria's face had turned an interesting shade of green. The London office, those meetings you said you had, were actually with me, a cultured British voice cut in. Everyone turned to see Lord Sheffield, one of Britain's most prominent financiers, enter the ballroom. Sorry, I'm late, Olivia. Traffic from the airport was dreadful. Quite all right, Charles, I smiled. You're just in time for the revelations. Mum's eyes darted between me and Lord Sheffield, her social climbing instincts wearing with her disbelief. You know each other? Oh, we're quite well acquainted, Lord Sheffield chuckled. Your daughter's firm handles most of the royal family's private investments. Brilliant mind for business, though I must say I never expected to find her serving drinks at a party. That was my choice, I said calmly. I wanted to see how long my family would continue dismissing me, even as they lived off my success without knowing it. James stepped forward again. Madam, we should leave soon, if we want to make the London meeting. Of course, I turned to my stunned family. I'd love to stay and help clean up, but I have a breakfast meeting at Buckingham Palace tomorrow. I'm sure you understand. Olivia, wait. Mum stood up shakily. We can talk about this as a family. I paused. Family doesn't treat their daughter like a servant. Family doesn't spend years mocking someone's career choices while secretly benefiting from their success. I smiled coldly. But don't worry, I'll have my office send over the bills for all the parties and anonymous donations I've funded over the years since family is so important to you. Victoria stepped forward, her earlier smugness replaced by desperate calculation. Sister, surely we can continue pretending you're the successful one. Keep acting like your banking job is the height of achievement. I shook my head. Enjoy your new position in our Asia-Pacific division. I hear entry-level analysts there work quite hard as I turned to leave. Dad found his voice. You can't just walk away from your family. Watch me. I nodded to James, who opened the doors. Oh, and Victoria, those clients you've been bragging about? They're all subsidiaries of my company. Might want to update your resume. The crowd parted as I walked through the ballroom, whispers and shocked murmurs is following in my wake. Lord Sheffield fell into step beside me, barely containing his amusement. Quite a show, he murmured, worth flying in for. Thank you for playing along, I replied quietly. The royal meeting detail was a nice touch. Oh, that part's real, he grinned. Her Majesty's quite impressed with your latest investment strategy, though. I doubt she'd expect her financial advisor to be serving drinks at parties. I laughed, stepping into the private elevator that would take us to my waiting car as the doors began to close. I caught one last glimpse of my family mum, collapsed in her chair. Dad, staring blankly into space, and Victoria frantically typing on her phone, probably trying to save her job. James, I said as we descended, make sure the cleaning crew gets a generous bonus. After all, I smiled, thinking of Victoria's earlier sneer, someone has to serve the drinks. Later that night, as my private jet crossed the Atlantic, I scrolled through the messages flooding my phone. News of my identity had spread quickly through the elite social circles my family so desperately wanted to impress. Mum, please, we need to talk. We never knew, Victoria, about that analyst position. Dad, the board wants to meet with you. I deleted them all and turned to the contracts spread across my desk. Let them sit with the knowledge that while they were mocking my career choices, I was building an empire they'd unknowingly depended on all along. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong, it's letting them discover just how wrong they've been.